Hi everybody, sorry about that. I had a little technical problem. I hope we're back online now. Welcome in everyone, and it's good to be back after a week of being away. Last week I was in Garden Grove, California, and I was teaching to a fabulous group of women there. It was a fabulous quilting guild. They had 177 people in attendance at the lecture, which was phenomenal. And then I taught a group of women class the next day. Beautiful weather, fabulous people. I am glad to be back in Arizona. So I hope you all got the message about the time. My time has not changed. Arizona is one of the only states, in fact I think it might be the only state that does not change time within the country. So we are still on Mountain Standard Time. We don't change. So now we are 3 hours behind the East Coast, 2 hours behind Central, an hour behind Mountain, and we are the same time as Pacific. So I'm glad those of you that are here have joined in at the right time. If you miss it today because of the time change, remember I'm going to repost the video. So let's get started though. Hit the share button so people who haven't joined in, who might want to join in on the Quilt Along can. That would be fabulous. First I have to say kudos to all of you. Yes, I look at our Quilt Along group that we have, and I will repost that link when I'm done today. We have a bunch of phenomenal quilters in that group. Boy, you are keeping on task with the weekly tutorials, the middles of Mountains and Plains. You guys are doing a fantastic job. Some of you have done the minis. Some of you have combined the minis with the larger blocks. Most of you are doing the larger blocks, but I'll tell you what, the fabric combinations are very inspiring. I love it. I love the fact that you're all staying on track. It's great. So keep posting your pictures, keep posting your questions in that group. I do look at that group daily and I will answer questions. I do comment on the pictures. So it's a lot of fun to see that. So definitely keep it up. So today we're going to go over the borders, which is our next little mini lesson, okay? So as you can see, our borders they consist of triangles. And yes, today I'm not sitting at the sewing machine because I have a lot to cover. So stick with me today. So the first thing I want to go over is we're going to be looking at page 3 of your pattern. Is 3, just checking. Page 3 of your pattern. So in your cutting way back on the first week, you were told to cut a certain amount of 1.5 inch strips. Thanks for all joining in. So you had to cut 1.5 inch strips for your borders as well. The next thing you're going to do is you're going to be taking those strips that were left over from your center blocks, and you're going to be piecing 7 1.5 inch strips together to create 7 strip sets. So you will have 7 different strip sets of 1.5 inch strips combined together, okay? So you'll go ahead and create those. So I'm going to go ahead, well actually before I turn the camera down so you can see what I'm doing, I'm going to go over a couple little things. In your pattern, you did receive the template sheet. So you have a template A and a template B. This is where we're going to be using those templates. If you do not have a 60-degree triangle ruler, I prefer to use my Creative Grids 60-degree triangle ruler for lots of reasons. It's just easier. I don't have to then trace out my template and may possibly put it on template plastic and then trace it onto the strip sets. It's a little bit easier to cut around a ruler. Plus I'm going to show you a few tips and techniques that you can use when using the ruler as well as using the template. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and turn the camera around so that you can all see what I'm doing, okay? So stick with me here. Whoops, sorry, I just got the camera out of position there. Okay, so now you can see my strip sets here. I'm just going to take one because I want to show you how you're going to cut with the ruler, okay? And actually I'm going to turn it this way because I think you might be able to see this strip a little better. Now, one of the things that you'll notice in the pattern is it's hard to tell from the graphic, but when you're using either the template or the ruler, when you lay it down here, you're going to use the ruler, you're going to use the 6.5 inch marking line, okay? And you're going to line that up with the bottom strip, the edge of that strip, which means, and I'm going to bring the camera in just a little closer so you can see here. I hope you can see. So this tip does not go all the way to the top of that 7th strip. It's meant to be that way, okay? So when you're laying either your ruler or your template down, it's not going to come up all the way to this edge here. That's correct, okay? And that is the way it is in the quilt. So you're lining up that bottom line, that 6.5 inch line. So it's a 6.5 inch tall 60-degree triangle. Lining up that bottom line with the very edge of the bottom strip. And then you're simply going to take your ruler, cut. I cut it away. Then this ruler has a little snip there, which is cuts off that dog ear. And then you're going to cut down the other side. Whoop. Okay, which gives you your triangle. So see how it has a little snip there? Then you're basically going to rotate your ruler, which is what I like to do. I rotate my ruler around, remembering that you have to line up that 6.5 inch line with the edge of the piece of fabric, and you're also lining up the edge of the ruler on this side with the edge that you just cut, and then you're going to go ahead and make another cut there, and then you're going to cut that snip off, okay? And you're just going to repeat that process until you finish cutting your strip set, okay? So you're going to cut all those strip sets, and you're going to come up with a total of, hang on, I forgot the number. You come up with a total of 28 striped triangles, okay? You'll get 4 triangles out of each panel, so you get 28 total. So you need 28 of these triangles to complete the borders on the quilt. Now, you also have to make the background triangles, okay? So in my case, I'm using black. Some of you are using different backgrounds. You have to create the background triangles and the right and the left side triangles. So I'm going to show you how to do both of these as well with your black strips that you had cut out. And you had cut out 7-inch strips here as well. Now, I'm going to give you a couple little tips here that I think you're going to really use. So if you're using a solid for your background, it's not going to matter how you cut these because there's no right or wrong side. Likewise with a batik, most batiks anyway. If you're using a print, you're going to have to open this out if you don't want a mirror. I can't even get this open. If you don't want mirror images when you're cutting those right and left sides. If you want a specific color to lay a specific way. Because I'm going to show you, if you keep it folded, you can actually go ahead and cut these right and lefts really quickly and easily. The first thing you need to do, though, is you need to straighten the left edge. So assuming you all know how to straighten, if you don't know how to straighten an edge, I put the bottom edge of the strip on the mat, lining it up, and then I'm lining my ruler up with a straight edge on the straight edge on the grid of the mat here to straighten out my edge. So I'm cutting off those selvage edges, okay? So that's super duper important. Then I'm going to go ahead, if you don't have your Creative Grids ruler, of course you're going to use this template, which is template B and BR, which B is for the right side, BR is for the reverse, okay? If you're using your Creative Grids ruler, now I'm going to try and get in close. You'll see that there are 3 lines here. There's a dotted, a solid, and a dotted, okay? I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put the edge of my fabric on the dotted line farthest to my left, okay? So I'm lining the edge of that up with the edge of the fabric, and then I'm scooting it down here again to the 6.5 inch line, okay? So I'm bringing the camera and I move this in a little farther. So the dotted line farthest to my left, not you, is on the edge of that fabric there, and the 6.5 inch line is on the bottom edge here. So I'm simply gonna cut that. This is gonna give me, I just changed my blade too, must be my mat. I'm getting that extra little bit stuck there. So you make that cut. Now this is folded over, but look, because I'm using a solid, I'm getting my reverse as well. So I'm getting my mirror images that I need. If you're using a print, say you're using like a pink print, and you only want the right side, not the left side, don't fold it, don't keep your fabric folded over, okay? Open it out so you don't get that mirror image. I hope you all understand that. Now, then I can just go ahead. You only need, for those, you only need 4 reverse and 4 of the regular. It's 4, and it shows you on page 1 how to do that. So it's 4 reverse and 4 right side, okay? So then you could do that on each strip, at the end of each strip, and you'll end up with those in no time because you don't need as many. So now I'm going to go ahead and start cutting those triangles again. And again, I'm scooching the line down here to 6.5 inches, okay? So that leaves me a little bit at the top here. And then I'm going to go ahead and cut down here. So it's the same method as what we did with the strips, the striped pieces, I should say, and then you get your triangles. Now, I'm going to show you a cool little tool, which I will put a link for in at the end of the video, that I like to use and when I teach classes using triangles, okay? So I'm going to do it on here, and I'm going to also do it on, I want to show you on both so you can see. I'm not sure which one you'll see better, but anyway, this is a tool that I actually do sell, but I use it in classes a lot. And I have it on the website, and I will give you a link for it. But this tool is very cool because it has all different angles on it that you can use, and it also has holes in there where you can mark the 1/4 inch line. But what we're going to use it for is to cut off the dog ears. So essentially, when we use the Creative Grids ruler, we clip that little snip to make it nice and to cut the dog ear off, basically, so that when you join triangles together, they'll match. So basically, when you join them together, you don't have that dog ear, there's no guessing, so you're going to line them up by matching the edge, just like you would any other block. But you can do that to every corner, and it will help you immensely in piecing. So on this, you're going to look at that 60-degree right here. You're going to line up the edge of this tool here and here with the edges of the triangle, okay? Now, if you wanted to, you could mark the 1/4 inch by dropping a pencil in that hole. All you're going to do is nip off the edge, if I can get it off of there. Apparently, I need to change this blade again. I'm nipping off the edge there. I'm turning it around, and then I'm gonna nip off this edge, which gives me it's snipped off all those dog ears. Do you see that? Can you see that? Now I'm gonna do it on the black. So when I line these up to make my border, they're gonna line up perfectly, and I'm not gonna have to guess where that 1/4 inch is or guess where I have to take into account the dog ear. And it works so nice. And then you don't have those dog ears in the bulk, when you're doing your seams either. It's fantastic. So now, if I wanted to go ahead, line these up, they're gonna line up perfectly for me. Do you see how those dog ears kind of just nest right on in there? So when I don't even have to, because I snipped them off, I'm just gonna sew 1/4 inch from one side to the other, and I don't even worry about it. So that's a cool little tool that you can use. And yes, I will put the link for you in the, after I post the video, the link will be there. Now, the other thing that I'm gonna need to show you too, and I did do a PDF for today, that I will put the link for the PDF download. So you have to make corner triangles. So in the quilt, and when I lift the camera back up, I'll show you, but in the quilt, you see you have these corner triangles. Now you can choose to do them with the same fabric, or you could choose to do them with different fabric. I'm gonna show you, I chose 4 different fabrics. I'm gonna end up with 4 too many corners, but that's okay, because I think I'm gonna use them for a label on the back. So the first thing you wanna do, when you did all your cutting, you cut out your 7-inch background triangles, and then your 7-inch print triangles. So you're gonna match a print with a background, you're gonna layer it up, and then you're going to mark on the diagonal, and perhaps, let's see, you can see it maybe on this one a little better. You're gonna mark the diagonal from one corner to the other with a pencil, pen, whatever. Then you're gonna sew a 1/4 inch away from that center pencil mark on either side, okay? And I actually pin it just so it doesn't move. So once you have that done and it's pinned and sewn, I always give it a nice press just to make it lay flat. I'm gonna take my pins out. This is how you're gonna create this. Take your pins out, and then you're gonna go ahead and you're gonna trim down the center right on that line. Okay, I'm sure many of you have done this before. Okay, you trim on that line, and then you're gonna press, and I pressed it to the background on this one. So then you're gonna press it one way, but, so in whichever way you wanna press it, it's okay here, because these are just going in the corner. You're not gonna nest anything here, but I chose to press mine towards the background. Now, once it's pressed, you're gonna get, here it is all nice and pressed, okay? You have the dog ears, but you wanna trim it down. And you wanna trim it down to 6.5 inches, I believe. And I'm gonna take I have a 6.5 inch ruler, which I love because a lot of our common block sizes are 6.5. But it also has this great little diagonal line down the center. So basically all I'm gonna do is lay that diagonal line right on my seam allowance, okay? Let me move that just a little closer, see if you can see that, okay? I'm gonna lay it right on the seam line, so it's going right down there. So you can see I just have just a wee bit of fabric on either side. It's just a sliver trim, and you're gonna trim this up. You go top, bottom, or right side and the top, you trim it, and then you're gonna take the trim off, those little slivers, and you're gonna give it a half turn to the other side and lay it back on that line, and you're lining up the left edge and the bottom edge of the fabric, so you've got that diagonal line there, and then you're going to do that sliver trim on the right and the top again, okay, which gives you now your trimmed block, okay? So you have to get 4 trimmed blocks as well, okay? So let me turn the camera up, and I'm going to go over some other details with you. Okay, you ready? Here we come. You get to see my ugly mug again. Hi, everybody. I'll tell you, it's a one-woman show here, right? So, let me go over again. So, this week, between now and next week, hey, everybody, now I can see you all again. So, between this week and next week, you're going to be creating your strip sets for your, I'm going to grab a strip set out. You're going to be creating your strip sets for your borders and then cutting your triangles out, okay? Then you're also going to be cutting your the large triangles with your backgrounds, as well as your right and left sides, okay, your triangles, okay. Next week we'll start constructing the borders together because I'm going to show you some techniques on how to put those together as well. So get those cut out and done, and then also do your corner half square triangles. These are pretty easy to make. They shouldn't take you long at all. The other thing, actually, I shouldn't have turned the camera up because the other thing I actually wanted to show you, I had a question on the in the group Facebook page about trimming up your blocks. If people were coming, needed to trim them down as they went along so that strips fit and all. You shouldn't have to trim them down as you go along. If you've cut accurately and sewn accurately, you don't have to. But, so you've got your stack of blocks, right? See, so look, I've made my blocks, which is cool, and a lot of you have made them too. So I want to pick a block, and I'm going to show you some of them. Let's see. Some of them might need just a wee bit of trimming, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So I'm going to turn the camera back around, and as you know, they have to trim down to an 8x8 block, okay? So let's go back down. I'm sorry, guys and gals. All right, so here's your block, and what you want to do is, I have a larger ruler here now. This is a 9.5-inch square ruler. So I want to lay this on here, and I want to see where there was one that I knew needed a little bit of trimming. This is the one. Here it is. I think this one needed trimming. I should have left it on top. So we want to look at this, and we want to see it just needs a little trimming up top. We want to lay the 8-inch grid on it so it's nice and even, and it needs just a smidge. I mean, it's very little. You want to just, you can see it's just a smidge. See that? It's very little. But your block should measure when you lay the, it actually needs a little on this side too. So it needs a little here too, just a little. So it's just a smidge, but it's enough to get it nice and square. So when you're done with your blocks, that's when I would lay the ruler on top and lay the 8-inch marks around it and then square it up if it needs to be squared up. It shouldn't if you cut your strips accurately as well as sewn accurately. So I'm back again. So you shouldn't necessarily need to trim up, but you can do a double check at the end and do that trimming. So, and the other thing that you're going to need to do too to get ready for your borders is which you already have these cut. These are your I believe they're 2.5-inch inner border strips. So it's that inner black border before we add the triangle. So those should be cut and ready as well. So in recap for today, I do have a PDF for you, and I'll put the link above the video when I get it posted, when I'm done chit-chatting here. If you haven't joined the Facebook group yet, definitely join the Facebook group. I'll put the link above me as well, above the video. You can join that and see how everybody's progressed. And you can join in the quilt along at any time. Definitely hit that share button. So for next week, work on your strips, your 7 strip sets for your borders, okay? Get your triangles cut out and do your background triangles as well, okay? What if you come out a little small? That's a good question, Lynn. If you come out a little small, I'm guessing it's maybe just a teenth, maybe like a 1/16 of an inch or so. I wouldn't worry about it. I like to use when I'm done with my block, I like to use Mary Ellen's Best Press, and that actually might help it lay a little flatter for you, and it actually might give you that extra little bit that you need. So try giving it a squirt with Mary Ellen's Best Press to see how that comes out, and if it gets to the 8 inches that you need. So have all that ready, your corner squares, your triangles, have that all ready next week, and then we'll talk about how to make your borders come together accurately so that you can get them on your quilt, okay? So, the other link I will put up there too, by the way, is I'll put the little link up for this tool so that you can grab that if you want to. Anyway, so I hope you guys, I can't wait to see more posts for those of you still working on the blocks. Post them because everybody's looking at them. We're all commenting. Some color schemes are phenomenal. So love to see them. And I look forward to seeing you all next week. So invite your friends to join us, and we'll see you next week. In the meantime, enjoy your weekend. Have a great week. Bye-bye.